At least as of December 2023, the median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in the United States, which was last year, was around $1,856, and this is according to Zumper. However, rent prices vary by state and region, of course. For example, in April of this year, the median asking rent for a 2-bedroom apartment was around $1,916 national. So I think it's safe to say that the median rent, at least in America as of right now, for a 2-bedroom is right around $2,000 per month. Now at this point, you probably know exactly where I'm going with this. What if you could purchase monthly paying dividend stocks, enough shares of monthly paying dividend stocks to not only get paid a ton of dividend income on a monthly basis, but get to the point to where you're completely covering your entire rent payments and then some. Now in this video, we're going to go over 5 different monthly paying dividend stocks, many of them which I currently own in my long-term portfolio, and share with you exactly how every single one of these monthly paying dividend stocks could not only pay for your rent with a relatively small amount of shares invested, but could probably do so for much cheaper than you even think. So if you want to see which 5 monthly paying dividend stocks could be potentially good options to pay for your $2,000 per month rent, make sure to stick around, drop a link down below, and let's get right into the first stock. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, the first monthly paying dividend stock that could potentially pay for your rent and then some is one of my favorite monthly paying dividend stocks across the entire market. I'm talking about ticker symbol Main, or Main Street Capital. Now, Main Street Capital is trading up quite a bit over the last year. It's up almost 24%, which is pretty crazy. The max time frame Main Street Capital has also been moving up into the right substantially, and this is due to the fact that during this high interest rate environment, this business development company has been ripping. Now, even though Main Street Capital is getting pretty pricey, it's still offering a forward dividend yield of around 5.86%, or around 3 times the starting yield you're going to get if you were to invest in something like the S&P 500. Now, Main Street Capital doesn't only pay a dividend every single month, but also historically has paid more and more in dividends over time. And on top of that, you see all those darker lines in there. Those are special dividend payouts which have been paid to investors as basically bonuses, which has been amazing. Now, because Main Street Capital pays investors more or less 25 cents per share per month, that means an investor would theoretically need around 8,000 shares of Main Street Capital in order to use all the dividends to pay for their rent and then some. Now, because Main Street Capital is currently $50 per share, this means an investor would need around $400,000 into Main Street Capital, where it's trading currently, in order to have their entire rent paid for. Another monthly payer that could potentially pay for your rent sometime in the future if you keep buying more and more shares is one of my favorites, Realty Income Corporation, or ticker symbol O. Now, Realty Income has done amazing long term. It's up around 596% as far as price return goes, but over the last 5 or so years, Realty Income has definitely been in a slump. Now, because of this slump Realty Income has been in, it's offering a massive starting yield at around 5.49% and offers a 26-cent per share per month dividend as of right now. Now, again, utilizing something like Realty Income to pay for your rent or pay for other bills in the future could be a potentially good option, especially because historically, this REIT has not only paid dividends consistently every single month, but has also paid more and more in dividend income long term. Now, because Realty Income does pay around 26 cents per share per month as of right now, this means an investor would potentially need around 7,692 shares of ticker symbol O in order to have their rent completely paid for, or invest around $438,000 into Realty Income to have their rent covered. Now, another monthly payer, this is one that I've also owned for a while now, is Stag Industrial, or ticker symbol STAG. Now, Stag Industrial is another popular REIT, which is up around 219% on the next time frame, and this is not even including dividends. Stag Industrial does offer a little bit of a lower starting yield, around 3.8%, which is not even close to as high as what we saw out of ticker symbol O, or Main, of course. And because of this lower yield, it is going to take quite a bit more capital, quite a bit more shares purchased of Stag Industrial in order to use this money to cover your $2,000 per month rent. We're talking around $650K invested into Stag, if you were, of course, wanting to do so. Another one of my favorite monthly payers, and definitely a stock that could be perfect to use for things like bills, rent, etc., is ticker symbol ADC, or Agree Realty Corporation. Now, this REIT is one of the highest quality REITs across the entire market. I've talked about this REIT on previous videos. Definitely check those out if you haven't already. But this REIT is up around 283% in the max time frame, and even though this REIT has had some troubles in the last year, it has recovered nicely, up around 6% year to date. Now, because of this massive recovery, ADC doesn't offer the largest starting yield at around a 4.5% forward. And because ADC does pay around 25 cents per share per month, as you can see right here on last dividend announced, That means that you would need 8,000 shares or so, which means you would need around $528,000 invested into ADC in order to have the dividend completely pay for your rent and then some. Now, the last monthly payer that could potentially be used to pay for things like rent, etc., will be ticker symbol EPR Properties. Now, EPR Properties is a specialized REIT, which has done pretty well on the max time frame, although in the last, say, 5 or so years, this REIT has run into some serious issues. Now, I will say it seems to have stabled out basically since around September of last year, but because this REIT's performance, it's offering a potentially accidental super high yield for investors that want to potentially take advantage of it. Now, because EPR pays around a 29-cent per share per month dividend as of right now, this means that investors would need around 6,896 shares of EPR in order to completely pay for their $2,000 per month rent. Now, because EPR is currently around $44 per share, investors would need to potentially invest around $303,000 into EPR to completely have their rent paid for. So there we have it. Those are 5 different monthly paying dividend stocks that dividend investors could use to potentially pay for things like bills, their rent, or other things in the future. Now, before you say, well, there's no way I'm going to get to the point to where I have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of shares of any of these different stocks and get to the point to where my rent could be covered. This right here is my long-term portfolio that's currently earning around $6,800 per month in dividend income, which I started at absolutely zero around 7 or 8 years ago. Now, I share this with you, especially if you're a newer investor, to give you motivation and just know that it all starts with just a single share of this or a single share of that. But over the years, after consistently investing into high quality, different dividend paying stocks and ETFs, reinvesting those dividends back into more shares of different stocks and ETFs, you too are going to be able to build a massive portfolio that not only can most likely pay for your rent, your mortgage, but hopefully for everything long term into the future. Now, again, this by no means happens overnight. Long-term dividend investing is not an instant gratification get-rich scheme by any means. It's brick by brick, share by share. It's going to take a long time for you to hit your goals, but you can definitely do so if you stay the course. Now, when it comes to long-term investing, especially building out a long-term dividend growth portfolio like I have right here, I truly do believe that strategy and psychology play a bigger role in your overall investing career than a lot of people like to give credit to. Now, for example, that's why I always tell newer investors to track your dividend income in a dividend tracker like this one, or of course you can build your own. It could be whatever. But the psychology behind getting dividends on a monthly basis and or tracking your dividend income on top of that is going to give you as an investor a lot more motivation behind putting more of your hard-earned active income into investments. Now, at least for me personally, if I buy a share of Realty Income, I know that next month I'm going to be receiving another 26 cents more or less in dividends. Where on the other hand, if I of course buy a share of Apple, and let's say the ex-dividend date just passed, I'm not going to receive a single dividend from Apple for about 90 days. Now again, not trying to compare Realty Income to Apple, those are 2 very different investments, and side note, I honestly love both of them. But I do think that the psychology behind a monthly paid dividend stock or ETF, knowing that if you invest in said stock or ETF that pays monthly, you know that within more or less the next 30 days, you most likely are going to get paid out from that asset. Now, lastly, most importantly, I want to hear from you guys down below. Out of every single monthly paying dividend stock that we talked about in this video specifically, which is your number 1 favorite and why? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.